Everybody. Dream Warriors 56. How does it feel? It feels good. It feels good to be at 56 episodes at nearly 100 recordings. And, we're still rock and rolling. We're definitely hitting 100 recordings by the end of the year because right now, to time date, it's December 8th and it's about 8:30 in the morning. We're backlogging content here. The reason for that is because there's just been a lot going on. I needed additional time to recalibrate exactly where Dream Warriors was going and exactly what to do with it since it's kind of become a thing. So let's hit that music and jump right into what we're going to go through. Yeah, so we're back. So we're back. Uh, yeah, we're just still sticking to the theme music, the instrumentals, no vocals. But yeah, so back in November, not a full month ago, but November 17th, 2017. 1717 was the release of the Justice League movie. And I have to tell you, so this is probably the third movie I thought I would never see. Well, fourth, I'm sorry. Number one of those movies that I thought I would never see was Watchmen. Growing up reading about that property, the comic, this is one of the reasons why it's so sacred to me. Watchmen is maybe the only, I would say Watchmen and Mouse are might be the only two sacred comics. Don't touch them, don't mess with them. Because messing with them takes away a little bit of the power that they have. It would be no different than doing a sequel to Watchmen would be no different than doing a sequel to Moby Dick or Hamlet in my eyes or Citizen Kane. Moving on, or Apocalypse Now. Like we can just keep adding to that. So Watchmen, I just thought I would never see based on the material at the time. The things that were said, that you can't shoot it. It's $1 million a page for the script. The script is 4 hours long. Excuse me, I'm drinking some. I'm got really good with making lattes at home too. So I'm drinking my own latte out of a Yorkie mug that I pulled out of an office on 40th Street. It's a cool mug. If you follow me on Instagram or Snapchat, you've seen this mug. But okay, number one, Watchmen, just based on what I understood to be the capabilities of the time. Number two, another Star Wars movie that ended with Star Wars Episode 1. Again, growing up, that was not going to happen, never going to happen. And then it happened, and here we are. We're on the eve, approaching Star Wars Last Jedi, Episode 8. There you go. I just love it. Number three, The Avengers. Never thought I would see a Avengers movie in my entire life, like a proper Avengers movie. Of course, it was missing the original key lineup, but I really don't care. What they did with the movie is far better than Avengers 1 written by Stan Lee. Compare and contrast all you want. Believe it or not, the Avengers movie lineup is more close to the Rob Liefeld Heroes Reborn Avengers than what was originally published. Shout out to Rob Liefeld. Okay, and then number three. Number four, because I can't count. Number four is what we're talking about today, Justice League. Yeah, holy crap. And it happened. And it came and it went a little depressing because I did want this movie to succeed. This movie had to succeed. Was it a success? So, a part of my study for this, okay, was I wanted to document what some of the vocal minority could do to the movie. I wanted it to be thorough. I needed time for it to sink and to sulk. And this, what we did here I say you and I, because you're a part of this, audience members, is that, like, we got Star Wars coming up, and then after that, it's going to be Infinity War. And there's really no other movies between the two. Sure, there's movies getting released, but those are really the two that matter. And I wanted to use Justice League as a way to document what the initial reactions were from YouTube influencers, and to kind of roll through what the vocal minority, like the social media, how was social media reacting to Watchmen? So we're setting up 3 to 4 episodes here. Episode 1 is going to be this right here, where we're going to listen to clips. We're going to just go through what some of our YouTubers, broad reach, had to say about the movie when the embargo was lifted. Number 2 is going to be the social media reactions. I put a couple feelers out for people who wanted to, send me comments and things like that. So we have those. Some of them, too, will be mined. I will just scour through some of my feeds and, grab what I can. Number 4 is going to be Mark and I. We're going to review the movie because we did see it together. And, we're just going to sit down and talk about it. And 4, it's been a little bit of a while. I'm doing too much ums, ands, and ohs. 4 is going to be a overall analysis and direction of the DC extended universe, and I think we're going to do like a good 4 block. We're going to do like maybe double releases throughout the weekend going into Monday. This coming Monday is everything's on site for Star Wars, so I just want to get the Justice League out of the way. And I think for DCEU we have some developments.
I think it's something more.
All right, so I can drone on and on just about what's coming. I think you have a good idea. So here's the reviewers, people from YouTube as the embargo was lifted, as the videos rolled out. And let's hear who we got.
Hi, I'm Andre, and I'm a black nerd with a review for You Better Reviews. Justice League. Yep, it's time to talk about this movie. The one that everyone on the internet agrees about. And this will be my non-spoiler review. I might mention some plot and character points, but I will not go into any major spoilers. I'm actually gonna do something a little different with Justice League. I'm actually gonna start with the bad. So I'm gonna give you the bad, I'm gonna give you the good, I'm gonna give you the nerdy. So
Justice League is finally here, the movie in which Batman, The Flash, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman team up to fight against Steppenwolf. We've already had movies with Wonder Woman and Batman in the DC Extended Universe, but this is the first time we're really getting a good look at The Flash.
I am Christy, that is Matt, that is Alonzo. Justice League, it's a thing. It's like they're Avengers, they all come together and they do stuff to save the world from ending or something.
Clearly you've been getting those Marvel checks.
Cha-ching. Okay, tell us, Matt, what's it about?
It is about the Super Friends. Oh, wait. That's an older reference.
Where are Jan and Zana? Zan and Jaina? Zan and Jaina.
Jan and Zana.
When do they get their movie?
Zan and Jaina. Okay, there we go.
Okay. So,
okay. So what are the thoughts of a production? Because let's add some insight into something we really know nothing about, just to make it seem like our opinion is a little bit more grounded and concrete and solidified. So tell us about what happened during the making of this movie. Not that it matters on the quality of the movie. Let's hit it.
Because I guess a ton of reshoots and rewrites is just the Hollywood norm nowadays. So how is Justice League? Well, I can say this, it's definitely a lot more.
Famously had to step away from this.
Right.
It was a family tragedy. Right. He was in the middle of directing it, and so others filled in.
Right, so
and
Joss
helped out.
Whedon
Joss
came
Whedon.
in.
But it still feels like pretty much every inch of Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah,
in all
I
the worst
disagree. I
possible
totally
ways.
disagree.
And we'll talk about that.
I disagree.
In a visual sense, I agree with you.
It's Sucker
The
Punch, it's
performances go back and
300.
forth.
It's all that like stark
Merc.
black and white kind of slow-mo with like stuff flying around people's heads.
Aquaman and Cyborg. As most people know, this film went under a very difficult production when Zack Snyder's daughter tragically committed suicide. He had to step away from the production, and Joss Whedon came in and did very extensive reshoots and rewrites. Henry Cavill was working on Mission Impossible 6 at the time and had a mustache that they had to digitally remove for all of
I had a big blue drink that I took into the theater because it was the ArcLight, and I had a good time. And and look, like you guys know, the audience knows I'm a Zack Snyder hater. I hated BVS. I hated Man of Steel. I enjoyed this movie. I had a good time.
Okay.
Enough that I wore my.
I know that's
And yeah, in a few shots, you can definitely tell the mustache has been digitally removed. But I wonder if you really would have known if it wasn't so widely reported, because everything now involving comic book movies or Star Wars is a news article or a
that is
clickbait
some
headline.
fantastic insight. It's amazing how the suicide of a person can affect a movie, and it should be discussed. I feel sick to my stomach even just having to address that and bring that up during a film review. But yeah, I guess in our day and age, even our film reviewers know no bounds, and nothing is off limits. Okay, so let's jump into the TONE, the tone. What's the tone of Justice League?
Short, put more jokes in it, do this, do that. You can feel the corporateness in the film. Over time, it gets better though. As the movie progresses, it starts to get more and more consistent in tone, and by the end of it, it's pretty natural. And there are scenes in this movie that you feel like you missed something, like you feel like you should have seen another movie prior to it. Aquaman probably should have had his movie come out before this, because there are some scenes with him where they try to set up some things about his world, and you're just like, hold up, what did I miss? Was there a Cliff Notes? Was there a pamphlet that was supposed to show up with this movie? Because you have never shown this to me before, and you're acting like I already know it. And sure, there'll be those DC people who are like, well, I read the comics, so of course I know it. Well, good for you. But for average John Q movie-going public, you throwing some stuff at them they ain't seen yet. The villain...
Because this movie is very lighthearted, and that can be a big problem. The sense of urgency, the sense of fear, the sense of realism is pretty much out the window. You don't really feel like this is actually something you're supposed to be afraid of.
Justice League is inconsistent in tone. Some of it feels very light and humorous. Some of it feels like the typical DC. Some of it feels like something in between. Some of it feels like movies we hadn't even seen yet, particularly in the first 30 minutes of this movie.
Consistent than I thought it would be for a film that is kind of directed by two people. It does feel like one person directed this movie. It's more consistent than I thought Rogue One was in tone, and certainly more consistent than Suicide Squad. But it doesn't really feel like a Zack Snyder movie, and I've seen all of his films. This is the least
you're seeing
Zack
different
Snyder
types of movies and different types of people making the movies when you're watching the first part of this film. I know that there were some production issues, some things that happened professionally with the movie, some things that happened personally with people in the movie. I know that Zack Snyder stepped away, Joss Whedon stepped in, but some of it I think was also there beforehand. You can feel the Warner Brothers hand kind of dipping into this thing and going, this is what you gotta do with this movie.
So, the big thing coming in is Steppenwolf. What do we have to say about Steppenwolf, the cousin or uncle of Darkseid, the bad guy? Where are we at with Steppenwolf?
Such a CGI creation, and he's so weak from a characterization point of view that I never really gave a shit about him. During the finale, they're all battling in this sort of ghost town where not too many people live, but there are a fair amount of people there. They make that clear. But they choose to only show one family throughout the entire film.
The plot is meh. The main villain in this movie is your typical CGI villain who's trying to contain powers for reasons. And he's the kind of villain that quotes a bunch of dialogue that sounds more important than it actually is.
Make the film feel a little disposable once you've seen it. And some of this is due to Steppenwolf. They try to take time to set up Steppenwolf and make you understand his backstory. There's an excellent sequence on Themyscira where he is trying to obtain one of the mother boxes and all of the Amazonian warriors are trying to keep him away from it. It's one of the best action scenes and one of the most exciting action scenes in the movie. But as a villain, I found him very weak because he's basically a big CGI monster in this movie, and you never really feel as if he is a presence or something really to
kind of like many movie reviews. Now, I have gotten to the point where I need to stop criticizing movies for having CGI, particularly superhero action movies. They're going to have it. You're going to have CGI characters, you're going to have CGI fights. It's just going to happen.
Okay, we got that. So, what is happening with the plot of the movie?
Some things that we can't help but talk about. We're not going to try and spoil it, but anyway, that's the rule. So that being said, Bruce Wayne, Batman, he's the same guy, has realized that in the absence of Superman after he died in the previous film, Batman v Superman, spoiler alert, that a world without Superman's in trouble because maybe there's aliens coming and he needs help, and the people that he dug into Lex Luthor's files and found out about, including Wonder Woman and Aquaman and The Flash and Cyborg, he needs to help defend the world, and so he works to put them all together, and they all have to agree to actually working together and stave off an alien invasion by Steppenwolf, not the band, a big dude with big horns, at least voiced, if not played by Karen Hines.
I can still see CGI in this. There's no portal in the sky. There is a new trope. There's a new thing that happens in the third act of this movie that feels very similar to something that I've seen in the third act of other movies, and I feel like it might be replacing the portal in the sky trope. Don't trade a trope with a trope. There is some natural humor in this movie.
The way those personalities react that really feels like Whedon's writing in a way that you never see in anything Snyder does.
I do like Bruce and Diana have a really interesting confrontation about what they do and why they do it that I thought was one of the better conversations.
Family, and you see they have kids and a mom and a dad, and it's just this one family that you see. And so you never really feel like people are in danger. They only focus on this one family throughout the entire finale. And so you just don't really feel like anyone's in real danger. It's just a really pretty movie, and you can be excited while watching really awesome superhero stuff happen. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory sense. I like me some superheroes. I have my entire life. And so anytime I can see some of my childhood heroes quite literally battling it out on the screen, I'm excited to be there. And I was excited to see Justice League. And I think overall, this is an enjoyable watch. I wouldn't say it's a complete course correction, but I would say it's a step in the right direction. It is very rushed, though, as I said. For instance, Cyborg, portrayed by Ray Fisher, very well, I might add. I think Ray Fisher is good as this character. He is one of the most difficult characters to get across here because his backstory is very murky in the film. I mean, I know what it is in the comics, but I have to always separate that. I have to realize that this is a movie, and the majority of the audience that goes to this movie, like the general public who just wants to go see the Justice League, they probably haven't read too many of the comics. And so here we get some hints and some backstory explained as to what happened, but Cyborg's position on this team just basically ends up being the guy who interacts with things. He touches things, he reads technical readouts, and he tells people what they need to know, and he doesn't really do that much. He has an integral thing that he has to do, and he has to be there to make something work.
Okay, so how about the other characters? Talk to me about the Justice League. The team I've been waiting for since I was a child to see on the big screen. Not on my television. I don't care what's happening on the TV. I'm too busy for TV. I got time for a movie, so I can set time aside for a movie. Let me see the heroes on the screen.
It's natural humor. I particularly love the humor coming from The Flash because this is a guy that just wants to be a part of a team, and the moment that he has the opportunity to do so, even with his fears, he's ready to do it. And Aquaman is in his own movie, and it's fine.
The slow-mo stuff, I don't think The Flash slow-mo stuff is nearly as fun as the Quicksilver slow-mo stuff in the X-Men movies. I think, Ezra Miller has been told that he was the comedy relief of the movie.
I've been on his side since before BVS even came out, and he was great once again. Henry Cavill as Superman. This is my favorite Superman has ever been in the DCEU. When he appears, it's so awesome. They really did some cool stuff with Superman, and I won't give you any spoilers away, but the things that they did, it really made me happy as a longtime Superman fan. And I think most Superman fans are going to be happy.
Can't say who it is. Right here. Technically, it would be a spoiler. All I'm just going to say is someone shows up, and I was like, I like you in this. So I appreciated and enjoyed the Justice League characters as individuals, but what I really enjoyed was when they worked together as a team. Because when they are fighting together and having action scenes together as the Justice League, those are definitely the highlights of this movie. Those are the scenes
and watching the Super Friends and all that stuff. And I, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking that even as much as I was not down for Man of Steel and BVS and Suicide Squad, that somehow Justice League was gonna, we were gonna get the band together and it was gonna be magical.
As the Flash. I've been waiting ever since I was a kid to see The Flash in a big screen movie. So it was a huge delight to see The Flash brought to life so well by Ezra Miller and some terrific special effects. The Speed Force was extremely exciting, and Aquaman was entertaining. I like Jason Momoa quite a bit as the character. But just because he stands there interacting with something for 10 straight minutes, it's just not very exciting, and I wish that Cyborg had more to do than just be the guy who reads files and touches things. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, of course, is great. I loved her film. She was one of my favorite parts of this movie as well. Ben Affleck, once again, really strong.
I'm not the expert. So is he supposed to be gay?
Well,
canonically, no.
Right.
Okay, because
is he supposed to be gay in the movie?
I don't know. There's like a flamboyant kind of femininity to his demeanor and his sense of humor. I just thought, like, is he supposed to be gay?
Brothers mandate that it has to be 2 hours or less, because there's so much they're trying to do here, and they don't have enough time to do it. Barry Allen's setup is very, very small, as is Cyborg's. They just don't give you enough time to really appreciate some of these characters. And they're
Oh my God. So it's the morning. I had to make we're stopping all of this. I got vent. I just had to call someone at 8 o'clock. It's past, it's 9:15 right now. And it's a freaking Friday. How are you not up early on a Friday to get your shiz done? How are you not up early to get everything you gotta do done? How come you're not rushing to get things done so you can go berserk on Friday night? Oh my God. I got an entire day of just releases between this and YouTube. It's insane. How are you not awake? I gotta leave a message with you. I gotta send you a follow-up text. The Jurassic World Lost Kingdom trailer came out today. Yeah, it looks like it doesn't look good. I'm not in. What's the plot of that movie? It's another Lost World. Like, what are we doing? I thought they were being clever with the name, but no. Maybe are they bankrupt with ideas? Well, go on that movie plot website. There's like really smart people on that site that already came up with sequel ideas. Hire one of them. Oh my God, what's happening? Okay, vent's over. Let's wrap this up and let's just go through some of the other highlights of the movie. And look, keep in mind too, we're experimenting here. This is something I've long wanted to do. I tried to do this with Transformers the last night. Wanted to document what was coming out for that movie. I still might do it. I still might do like a follow up because I downloaded, ripped all of the reviews for that, the initial reviews, and I was kind of trying to do something similar, organizing and figuring out what the production pipeline is for something like this is definitely the sticking point. That's what you got to overcome. But yeah, so let's wrap up some of these Justice League thoughts and move on.
Criticize one movie about CGI would mean to have to criticize everybody about CGI. That being said, some of the CGI in this movie needs another render. There's some scenes where it's like just a person by themselves, like nothing's really happening. They're just talking, and you're just like
disappointing.
It is not as bad as Batman v Superman.
Yes,
but also not nearly as good as Wonder Woman. Yes, I also had
hope. But that's a large spectrum,
also,
right?
Let's talk about the way Wonder Woman is shot in this and numbing and loud.
Look, Joss Whedon fixed this film. He saved it.
I'm not sure he
saved it.
He saved it. He made it a little
saved
cheeky.
it.
He made it a little cheeky and funny. Sometimes
this movie works. You guys are wrong. This movie works.
Really?
I was hoping this was good. I was hoping that between the success of Wonder Woman and the input of Joss Whedon, this was going to be less Snydery, and it is still super Snydery. It's less Snydery than it might have been maybe, but it's still Snydery enough that it
actually found to be pretty funny. But there is some forced humor in this movie that is not all that good.
Can't really get that much more out of him, but it's the chemistry between these actors, the camaraderie amongst them all, the dedication from all of them, as well as the fact that this movie understands that this is supposed to be entertaining. This is supposed to be exciting for people who have wanted to see this for a long time. And it also is a little bit self-aware. Certain characters that wouldn't normally tell a joke do. And that might be Whedon. Sometimes he likes to do that with comic book characters that are very...
Now the good! I like this movie. I'm just gonna be real with you. It has some flaws, but there's a lot of stuff that I actually enjoyed about this film.
Oh, it's because you went to the premiere. That's why you're being nicer to it.
Yeah, so look, there you go, right? It's very interesting. Everyone seemed to love the movie, right? Can we agree that the movie had issues when initially saw these reviewers, but it does seem like that they're trying to cover they're trying to cover up an overall bad movie, and I think it's hard to say that this movie's bad. It's hard to say that Whedon coming in made a lesser movie. I'm sorry. That's pretty obvious just based on what they're saying. I don't buy them being able to. How do you know? How do you know what Whedon did? Whedon's not telling anyone. Warner Brothers isn't telling anyone. Zack Snyder's not telling anyone. So what's the logical conclusion? We had a finished movie essentially. Someone came in with 3 months of crazy hard work that was years in the making. By the way, years in the making. You're going to come in 3 months and whip up a I fixed it special? No. So what's logical? That worked, or there was a movie, they didn't like it, and they kind of threw Zack Snyder under the bus and panicked or whatever. I don't know how you would describe it. But someone coming in and fixing years worth of work, just in tone and intent alone, doesn't seem possible, doesn't seem believable. Whedon might have done some things. I don't really know. Until he says, we don't know. And I'm not going to waste time trying to dissect what he worked on in that movie. I really don't care. Warner Brothers tried to save the movie and wanted it to save from their perspective, because I liked the tone of Man of Steel, BVS, and even Wonder Woman leading into this. The tone was there, 100%. So let's just rock and roll. Move on to the social media. What my friends, my online friends. Oh yeah, it just sounds pathetic. Let's just move on. Let's hit that music, and next episode's coming up. We'll rock and roll with that.